So here's the deal. If you have protein, carbs, and fats, all your energy and all your fat burning potential and all your muscle building potential comes from all three. Okay? Now when it comes to carbs, everybody's like, why do carbs make you fat? Why do carbs make you fat? Why do carbs make you fat? They make you fat because once you store a certain amount of carbohydrate in your body, it cannot store anymore. So carbohydrates are stored in your muscles and in your liver. Once you fill up that gas tank and you keep taking in carbs and you keep getting that insulin response, things are going to spill over, and that spillover is what is stored as fat to be burned later. So obviously, what do we need to do for fat loss? We have to watch what we're doing right here. The types of carbs and the amount of carbohydrates. Okay? Once you increase your proteins and your fats, keeping everything as organic as possible, of course, then you control your carbohydrates, you control your insulin spike that goes up, and you start to burn fat at rest. Your metabolic rate goes up just by learning how to manipulate carbs. And we're going to do a video on carbohydrate manipulation on a diet coming up here in just a few. Once you learn how to do that, your fat loss is going to go up. You can see that arrow. Fat loss goes up when you start carb depleting. Keep your proteins up to spare muscle, and how this works in your digestive tract and how this works in your liver releases a bunch of various enzymes that free up fatty acids from your fat stores, and you start burning more fat at rest because you took away your body's ability to burn sugar. You're taking away the sugars, the glucose, the insulin, the carb, all the same thing. They're just all interchangeable words. Once you take this away, you keep your muscle and you start burning this at 2, 3, even 4 times the rate. It takes a couple weeks, but once you learn how to do it, this is where your fat loss will take place. And
ratios.
Yeah, ratios. And so when you look at taking away your carbs, let's look at ratios. If you're looking at protein, carb, and fat, let's say for your pros, I would look at almost 40%. People will argue with me till they're blue in the face on it. That's fine. You can go to 30 if you want. And you look at your fats, I would look at probably 30%. And if you look at carb, you would look at 30%. I remember when the Zone Diet came out, the doctor, he reversed this, 40 carb, 30 and 30. And I remember doing that, and my metabolic rate was much faster back then. It was in the early 90s. I was still in my 20s, so that worked. But as you get older, and your insulin sensitivity from your carbohydrate isn't as good as it used to be, you got to jack up your proteins, increase your fats, because I keep my carbs really, really low, and it keeps you in a fat-burning mode the whole time. So only 30% carbohydrate. Sometimes that's even too much for some people that I'm running into. They are so insulin desensitized that when we go back to the cell and the receptor sites, and insulin is supposed to attach to this receptor site, the problem is they're so beat up at the pancreatic level, the pancreas is so tired that the brain shuts it off, and the insulin receptors at the cellular site kind of are taken away. So if your pancreas is still secreting insulin and is trying to get it into the cell and there's no receptor sites for it, what does it do? You get the spillover I talked about, and then you get fat gain because you're becoming insulin desensitized. You must give your pancreas a break. You must give your body a break and cut your carbs way down, and you will increase your fat loss. Thank you for listening to 90 Days to Fitness, and remember, there are no shortcuts.